Namaste children. I hope you enjoyed listening to Gita Dhyanam and seeing the beautiful images of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. The Mahabharata is considered to be the longest poem in Indian literary tradition. The whole story is composed in 1 lakh or 100,000 verses. It's an epic, an itihasa, looked upon as the Panchama Veda or the 5th Veda because it contains all the wisdom and knowledge as said in the Vedas. It is complete. How did this great battle of Mahabharata come about? Well, there were 2 brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra was older and blind. Therefore, Pandu ruled the kingdom. He was a great man, a great ruler. He gave full status of a king to his older brother Dhritarashtra, whom he loved and respected very much. Unfortunately, Dhritarashtra nursed a complex against Pandu. Later, Dhritarashtra had 100 sons called Dhartarashtras, and Pandu had 5 sons called the Pandavas. They grew up together, graduated in their education and learning in warfare and archery. The Pandavas showed brilliance in their learning. Dharmaputra, also called Yudhishthira, was installed as the crown prince of Hastinapur. Since childhood, Duryodhana and his brothers were always jealous of the Pandavas. They ganged up against them to destroy them, always giving them trouble. The Pandavas tried to understand that their cousins were jealous and accommodated them as best as they could. The Pandavas treated them well. One day, Duryodhana, through a scheming game of dice, banished the Pandavas into exile for 12 years plus 1 year incognito. The Pandavas served their exile well, and when they returned to reclaim their kingdom, Duryodhana said no. He declared war. The Pandavas were the rightful and lawful rulers of the kingdom. Even Krishna's eloquence, pleading power and negotiating acumen were of no avail. Duryodhana was a usurper, a criminal, a man of a cruel injustice. So every minute Duryodhana ruled the kingdom, the Pandavas were responsible. Therefore, the issue was no longer about the kingdom, but the matter was about Dharma versus Adharma, right versus wrong, ethical reasoning versus cheating and deceiving, justice versus cruel injustice. Hence, war was the only choice. The Bhagavad Gita opens with Dhritarashtra sitting in his palace, along with his companion Sanjaya, who is blessed with an extraordinary audiovisual capacity by sage Vyasa, which means Sanjaya can hear and see what is happening far away. With this boon, he faithfully reports everything to Dhritarashtra.
धृतराष्ट्रौ उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामका पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय Very good.
That's the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra asks, desiring to fight, what did my people and the Pandavas do assembled at Kurukshetra, the abode of Dharma? By asking this question, Dhritarashtra already creates a division between his people and the Pandavas, which means he wants Duryodhana to win and Pandavas to lose. As a father, he had been supporting all the wrongdoings of his son Duryodhana. Hence, he is also responsible for the war and its outcome. Dhritarashtra was blind not only in his sight but also in his thinking.
Arjuna uvacha
अर्जुन उवाच
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
रथं स्थापयमेच्युत
रथं स्थापयमेच्युत
यावदेतानिरीक्षेऽहम्
यावदेतानिरीक्षेऽहम्
योद्धुकामानवस्थितान्
योद्धुकामानवस्थितान्
Arjuna asks Krishna to place the chariot between the two armies so that he can examine the people who have assembled to fight and with whom he has to fight. Arjuna's frame of mind was a flame of fury. He wanted to settle scores with Duryodhana and his brothers who have always been treating them miserably. He was resolved to fight. When Sri Krishna stations the chariot in the middle of the battlefield, Arjuna sees his paternal elders, his teachers, his grandfather, his friends, his brothers, his own relations, and is suddenly overwhelmed by sorrow.
Arjuna uvacha
अर्जुन उवाच
द्रष्टवेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण
द्रष्टवेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण
युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं
युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितम्
सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि
सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि
मुखं च परिशुष्यति
मुखं च परिशुष्यति
संजय उवाच
सञ्जय उवाच
एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये
एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये
रथोपस्थ उपाविशत्
रथोपस्थ उपाविशत्
विसृज्य सशरं
विसृज्य सशरं
चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसः
शोकसंविघ्नमानसः
Very good.
Looking at his own people desirous to fight, Arjuna says, "O Krishna, my limbs have lost its strength. My Gandiva is slipping from my hand and I'm unable to stand up. I do not want kingdom. I do not want the victory. I do not want comforts. What is the use when my own people are not around? This war will see thousands of people dying who have sacrificed their homes, their wives, their children to come and fight." Arjuna wept not out of fear but out of appreciation of his own people. He collapsed not out of fear but out of compassion for his own people. He grieved not out of fear but out of care for his own people. He was a matured and cultured person. His emotions were natural. Dear children, we all feel sad, stressed, tensed, anxious at different times in our lives, don't we? There's nothing wrong with that. Arjuna's sorrow represents our sorrow. Arjuna represents each one of us. He represents the reality of humanity. Now, how did his friend Sri Krishna cheer and uplift him? Before I leave you until the next episode, I would like to tell you how unnecessary it is to feel jealous of the other. After all, each one is blessed with their own special gift. By enjoying the goodness and talents of others, we actually partake in their success and happiness. So wishing each one of you friends like Sri Krishna who can cheer and uplift us, especially during difficult times, I take leave of you until I see you next week. With lots and lots of love, Pavithra Srinivasan.